This just screams America and diabetes.
I'm pretty sure I haven't slept more than 12 hours within the past 72 hours, so excuse me if I'm wearing sunglasses at about 2 a.m. on an international airport. I'm here in Raleigh, which is on the East Coast in North Carolina of the United States. And trust me, it's very specific. You'll want to stick around for this one. So I feel like the south of the US is not on top of the list for a lot of foreign tourists that come to the US. Usually it's the East Coast, sometimes the West Coast, and I myself am actually lucky enough to have already seen a pretty large chunk of the US at such an early age. I do like to be unconventional, so I thought to myself, let's check out the south. Now I know you can argue I could have gone much further south, like I'm not in Alabama or Louisiana, but I wanted to ease into the whole concept of the southern states, so I'm in Virginia. But this is actually a really complex story, so let me start from the beginning. Okay, so like I said, I put it out there, I want to see the South, and my friend who lives in North Carolina, he was like, yeah, come down, I'll set something up, let's do it. So I didn't know I was gonna go to Virginia before I landed in North Carolina. I landed and he was like, yeah, we're gonna drive there, and this is in Virginia. And I was like,
wait a damn minute.
I know nothing about Virginia. My brain was just going, country roads take me home. I do know that song references West Virginia, but my European brain just thought, you know, Virginia is Virginia. I'm sure it's a nice place, Mountain Mama, whatever. So as I'm on the country roads, we have a little road trip situation up to or down to or wherever towards Virginia. I look outside the window and I'm like, wow, there's so much green. This reminds me of Austria. Huge red flag. It feels like there's a new cluster of fast food chains like every 10 minutes. So I was like, wow, welcome to America. Anyways, it's like a 3-hour drive, and the closer we come to Virginia, the more the buildings that I see outside, not that there were many buildings, it was mainly forest. All I saw were brick shoeboxes in the middle of nowhere. And the reason why I say shoe boxes is not to be condescending or anything, not because they were small, but they literally look like boxes. And coming from Europe, I don't really know buildings that look like that. A lot of LA looks like that, but in that space, it seemed very eerie. It seemed abandoned. It seemed almost liminal. Liminal in the sense of, I've seen it somewhere before, but I can't pinpoint where. It was such an odd feeling. And then, you know, again, you drive for 10 minutes through the woods, and then all of a sudden there's the next cluster of fast food chains in those buildings. But anyways, I arrive and I'm in Williamsburg, Virginia, which is where I still am. The brick gives it away, I think. And to myself, I thought, wow, this looks like a huge university campus. It's probably just a hotel we're staying at. Everything is made out of brick. Feels like a village. Look at the sheep. Wow, in its natural habitat. Wow. Like I said, I thought it's the style that the hotel went for. No, that was literally the entire city. I will probably daydream about this place in autumn just because you have nothing but the city's trees, and just imagining all of them turning brown and orange, and then in combination with these boxy brick houses, it's literally what every Halloween and Christmas movie is made of. Absolutely beautiful. It's extremely quiet. It seems extremely safe, but I've never seen and experienced this side of America. So at that point, I was a bit confused. I'm currently walking through Jamestown, which was the first English settlement of the Virginian colony here in the US back in 1607. That's when they came here. Apparently, this is where Pocahontas used to live. It is very native. Interesting to walk through. The weather is great. It's a little humid. I definitely feel like this makes me look like I'm in a history-themed spicy movie. Here we have replicated houses of the Indian tribe village, which I believe is what Pocahontas was a part of. Let's say hello. Oh, wow. Look at all the fur. Is this real? I believe it's real fur. This is where they used to sleep. Yeah, real fur. This is where they used to make fire. This is so much fun. I wish I could have learned like this, like interactively and visually for high school exams. So the longer I was here for, the more I learned how this is a chunk of US history. Like, this place is very historical. And when I say that there's a lot of history here, there's also a lot of dark history here. I have to say I'm someone who gets very emotional when it comes to the chapter of slavery in US history, just because inequality and violence triggers so much in me. So I'm walking around the city center and something in me feels a little uncomfortable. At that point, I couldn't pinpoint what it was. So then it dawned upon me, all my alarm bells went off. These buildings, I've seen them before. They remind me of Roanoke, 12 Years a Slave, Get Out, and all of these movies about slavery and colonies and inequality. So much went down here that I don't even want to imagine in my wildest dreams. I remember our history teacher, he made us watch 12 Years a Slave, and it was borderline traumatic because we were, what, in grade 7 or grade 8? But anyway, so I'm here in this place where a lot of that actually went down, and I know for a lot of Americans, which is what I also saw with my friend, it's not that big of a deal just because it's part of their history. I've only heard about it, and I've never even seen colonial buildings in real life. And it was so interesting to see how an architecture style can trigger so much in me. I'm getting the Blair Witch vibes, and I'm just like, this place, help. Then I buried myself in research, also found out that a lot of the buildings here are apparently haunted, like legitimately haunted, like ghost sightings, and there's ghost tours and whatever, and I was just like, ooh, okay, this is maybe not the place for me. I do have to say though, they have great fish. The climate is very humid, which I didn't know because I always thought the South was naturally dry because it's in the South. I did some taste tests as well. I'm about to try out a European bakery here in America. Let's see what the pastries taste like. Okay, so I walk in, big red flag. The first thing I see is a croissant topped with a chocolate chip cookie and some whipped cream. This just screams America and diabetes. We're gonna do a very public taste test here of the European bakery. I got a hot milk chocolate cake, I think. I thought it was a chocolate cake, but it's not. Very dense, very sweet, a little chewy. Not what I was expecting. A good cake, but... Now that I'm about to head to the airport to go back home, I see this whole trip as a psychological intervention for my mental health. Just because, you know, I was forced to escape the extremely competitive and capitalistic work environment in Los Angeles and just breathe for a few days here in nature in the south of the US.
All right, everybody, with that being said, it was so good to get away. Even though I'm completely sleep deprived, I do feel refreshed. And now on my 3-hour car ride from Virginia back to the airport in North Carolina, I kind of realized what it was that partially threw me off about the environment there. Things partially seemed too groomed. They seemed too perfect. They seemed unreal. They almost seemed like they were out of cardboard. Some scenes looked like straight out of Harry Potter or like a Magritte painting, which perfectly capture this cold loneliness that you can find in perfection. I don't know how to put it differently. I tried to photograph and film a bunch of scenes that capture exactly that, so have a look. Especially the Magritte painting reference. I think that kind of hits the nail on the head, but if you don't get it, whatever. Overall, beautiful place. To be honest, I can't tell you if and when I will be back. Could be in autumn for my daydream or could be next decade. Either way, it's a blessing to travel. I'm so glad I did this on purpose. I didn't vlog the entire trip just because I actively wanted to take a bit of a breather. I hope you guys don't mind and enjoyed this story time. Either way, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching and take care. Bye.